All right, welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to use the audio file processor to create arpeggios. So let's get started. We're using 1.2.0 release candidate 7, LMMS, of course. All right, we don't need the controller rack today. Left click. We do need the FX mixer. We don't need the automation track. Gear icon, left click, remove. Beat and bass line, don't need, left click, remove. Sample track, remove. Triple oscillator, remove. And I'm going to use samples, instruments that are native to LMMS on this tutorial. So let's open up our samples, come over to instruments, come over to piano one. Before I choose piano one, it's going to be loud. So I'm going to go ahead and take this all the way down on my master over here. Okay, and select piano one. Then I'm going to go to drum synth. And I'm going to go to miscellaneous bass down here, open this up. And then I'm going to come down here to more bass _2. Bring that up. Okay. And that's all we'll really need for this tutorial. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak my instruments. So I'm going to come back to my master right now. Right click on my mouse and hit reset to reset the volume. Next, I'm going to come to my piano, and my volume is in decibels. If you're new to LMMS, there's several tutorials as to how you can switch over from percentages to decibels. All right, I'm going to come over to my volume knob. I'm going to decrease my decibels to about 13, negative 13. And for my bass, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to decrease my volume to about negative 13. Okay, now I'm going to open up my audio file processor for my piano. And let's sample the notes. I'm going to hit Y on my keyboard to hit the A note. It's a little bit low. I'll bring it to negative 8. I'll bring this to negative 7 as well. And let's sample the bass. That's really low, actually. I'll reset that to 100%. Okay, but you're going to hear that clicking noise fresh out the box whenever you're dealing with like your samples. Expect to hear that clicking noise, and we're going to do something to fix that. Come over here to your envelope filter and LFO over here in your audio file processor window. Left click on that. Come here to your mount. Left click and drag it up. Bring your attack up ever so slightly. Okay, and that's for the piano. And the next thing that we're going to do with this piano is come to our effects window, open that up. I'm going to click add effect, type in G-tune, G-T-U-N-E, and open that up. Now I'm going to hit Y on my keyboard to hit the A note, and I'm getting a C note. So I'm going to move this little white button over here over. I'm going to move it all the way over here. And that's an A sharp. I don't want that. So I'm going to move it all the way back over here. That's an A sharp. So I'm going to move it over here. And now we have an A. So we've adjusted this little white button. And you're going to be hitting Y on your keyboard to test that A. Or you can hit it right here on this keyboard. Or you can hit it right here to test it. And we have an A, so that's good. Now we're going to open up the bass. Now we're going to open up the bass, excuse me for that, audio file processor. Okay, we're going to come over here to the window envelope and LFO function. Open that up. We're going to raise our mount all the way. We're going to raise our attack ever so slightly. We're going to come down here. Since this is a bass, I want to do like a little phony type 808 type of thing. So we're going to come to the filter, light this green lamp up over here with the left click. Open up our menu, come down to 2 times low pass, and we're going to bring our frequency down to about 4,000. Now let's test it and hit that Y. That's crazy loud, or it's crazy low. That's lower than I thought it would be. Okay, let me see, where's my volume? That's why. Okay. Now it's a little bit too loud now. Okay. Bring you down to about a -9, -7. That's a little bit loud here, so we'll bring this down to a value of -13, -12. And if you're mixing, you're constantly going to be doing this. Try to make sure your levels are correct. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to assign these notes to a master. But before we do that, we're going to have 3 separate pianos. Now, what we've done, we tweaked the piano in the audio file processor. And I don't want to tweak 3 separate pianos. So I'm going to tweak my main piano first, and then I'm going to clone it. All right, so we've already tweaked this. So we're going to come over here to the gear icon to the left of the piano, clone this track. We're going to do that 2 more times. Okay, that's cool. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to rename these pianos. So double left click on the first piano, and we're going to call that piano regular. Piano reg. Second piano, we're going to call this one piano 2. And we're double left clicking on the fonts here on the left hand side in your song editor window. Double left click, rename this piano 3. And that's good. Not we're gonna change this one to piano 4. Piano 4. Okay. We don't need these open currently. Next, we're going to put everything on this FX mixer, and you need to do this for every song that you start. It's really good to have good habits when you start. So before you get that froggy feeling, go ahead and get everything assigned and tweaked. Um, it's going to save you a lot of time when you get in the zone and actually start writing your songs. All right, so left click on the gear icon, come down here to FX Master, assign to a new FX channel. And we're going to do that for all of these. Assign to new FX channel, piano 3. Assign to a new FX channel, piano 4. Assign to a new FX channel, and the bass. Assign to a new FX channel. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instruments here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instruments in our FX mixer. Let me take a listen to the levels. I hope that's not too loud on your ears. I can't really hear what's going on right now in terms of audience feedback. All right, so we are now going to figure out how to make an arpeggio. But before we even do that, let's open up our first bar here in the song editor with a double left click. Okay. Now, I want to use a scale, and to keep it simple, I'm going to use a major scale, which is, as we've learned in the previous tutorial, is your root note, your third, and your fifth, okay, and a way to construct a chord. So I'm going to come over here to scale, left click on that, and choose major. I'm going to come over to my A note, which is my A4 specifically, right click, and click mark current scale. Okay, now I'm going to assign some notation. I'm going to come over here to my A note and assign, I'm going to extend this with a left click and a drag to a half note. And then I'm just going to assign about 8 notes randomly. All right. So we're going to be working with half notes, and there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing right now. It's just random. All right, so let's take a listen to the notes we've selected. So that's going to be the melody that we've constructed, that we will have constructed by the end of this tutorial. And we're going to tweak it in one, two, three different ways so that you can see how you can create an arpeggio using the audio file processor. Now I'm going to hit Control on my keyboard, left click with the mouse, and I'm going to select all of these instruments. Then I'm going to take these instruments down 1/16 of a note. Okay, now I'm going to hit Control left click and unselect all of those. So we have what, like 7/16 of a note on the long ones and like 3/16 of a note here on these two short ones here. All right. Next thing that we're going to do is come over to this phrasing over here, right? And we're going to click Control, left click and drag and drop. Do the same thing again, left click, drag and drop. Left click on the Control, drag and drop. Left click on the Control, or Control and left click on the mouse, drag and drop. All right. So now we have 4 pianos and we have a bass. All right. Now I'm going to move my piano 2 over so that they're not playing at the same time. Piano 3, I'm going to move this over. Piano 4, I'm going to move this over. Okay. Now we're going to be creating arpeggios using our audio file processor. And real quick, piano 2, we're going to name this one up. I messed up there. Piano 3, we're going to name this one down. And piano 4, we're going to name this one major. And you will see why shortly. I just want to get everything named properly before we get started on this. Now we're going to come over to piano up. We're not going to do anything with piano regular because piano regular is what we're going to hear to as an example of where we started. It's going to be our before and after. All right, piano up. Let's come over here to see where you have your FX. Go to the left of your effects, and it's going to be chord stacking and arpeggio window. Let's open up the chord stacking arpeggio window. And let's also open up, with a double left click, our piano up, piano roll. Okay. Now let's play these notes out. We've already heard it, but let's play it again. Okay. So that's the melody that we're going to be working with. Now let's light up this arpeggio green lamp over here with a left click. Now let's listen to it. Okay, so what that has done, it's not going to play the note and just hold the note. It's going to play a series of notes. And that's what an arpeggio is that we learned in the last tutorial. It's going to play the notes in succession as opposed to play them at the same time. All right. Now we're dealing with octaves here. And you can open this up and you get a list of all the possible options for your arpeggios. We're dealing with the direction up, which is why we've named this one piano up. And we're going to be dealing mainly with range, time, and up and your chord choice in this window right here. So now I'm going to take my range up to 2. All right, double left click and then type in 2 in this window that opens up here. Click OK. My range is up to 2 and I'm going up. Now you should hear 2 different notes because it's going to hit this A4 and it's going to hit this A5 since you have a range of 2 octaves. So let's check that out. Okay, so now we've created an arpeggio using 2 separate 2 octaves of the same note. We have the A4 and the A5. And look over here, you're going to see the A4 and the A5 turning green. And I mean, whenever it hits the A5, whenever it hits the F sharp, it's going to go from F sharp to F sharp. Whenever it hits this C sharp to C sharp, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's playing octaves of every particular note. So that is cool. Now let's come over here to time. Now, time means the amount of time that's going to be played between each arpeggiated note. So if I crank the time all the way up over here with a left click and a drag, it's going to sound like this. It sounds normal because there's so much time in between the notes, it's not going to play that second note. Now, if I bring time all the way down, it's going to sound crazy because we're going to decrease the amount of time in between notes played. So it's going to sound like a machine gun or something. Okay. And whatever project you're working with that might be effective arpeggio, I don't like it for this project. So I'm going to hit right click on the time and then reset and listen. Okay, and finally the direction. So we're going to be working with this chord, direction, range, and time are the main knobs we're working with today. All right, direction is up, which means that whenever the arpeggio starts, it's going to hit the lower note first and the higher note second. Bam, that's it. We've created our first arpeggio. Okay, now let's open up the piano down with a double left click. Single left click, I'm sorry. Open up the audio file processor. Double left click to open up the piano roll. Okay. Now we're going to come over here to our chord stacking and arpeggio. First thing, first thing, first thing. I'm going to do the clap. First thing, first thing. Remember, you want to light up your lamp. And that means that it's now active. Okay, so remember that. We're going to keep this as an octave. We're going to take our range up to 2 here with a left click and a drag. Or you can double left click, open the window, and type it in. Now we're going to change our direction. And the direction we're going to change is to down. And what this means is now, since we have and I'm going to take this to a range of 3. I don't think it's going to change anything too much because with the octaves, it's kind of boring. But we're going to take this to, I'll take it to a range of 3, which really doesn't matter. Now we're going to come over to down, and we have the A5. It's going to hit the highest note first and the lower note second. Okay, so let's listen. Okay, so that's what that means. So the direction of, let's come over here to this one, which is up. It's going to play like this. Okay, and the direction of the one that says down is going to play like this. So it's going to go from the higher note to the lower note. So that's good. And everything that we learned in the last, with the last audio file processor is the same thing here. Now, finally, we're going to open up the piano major, right? The piano major, single left click audio file processor, double left click to open up the piano roll. Let's come over here to our chord stacking and arpeggio window, light up that lamp first off. We're going to come over here to where it says chord, and we're going to select, excuse me, major. It's underneath my camera there. We're going to select major chord. I'm going to keep my direction as up, right? And I'm going to take my cycle to 3. 1, 2, 3. That's left click and a drag. Now what this has done here, when we're working with octaves, you're working with the same note for every note. So you're going to go from A4 to A5 if you're dealing with an octave. If you're dealing with a chord, and specifically the major chord, you're going to be working with the root note. Then you're going to be working with the what is the third? The third's E, and then the third is C sharp, then E, if you're dealing with A. So you're going to be working with the root note, C sharp, then A. Is that right? C sharp, then E, excuse me. That's wrong. C sharp, E, A, C sharp, E, yeah. A, C sharp, E. Which means that you're not working with the same note now. You're working with 2 more notes in addition to the A. All right, so with an octave, it goes from A to A. And with the major, it's going from A to C sharp to E. I don't want to say the wrong thing here. Yeah. All right. And And then with the rest of these notes, it's going from the root note to the third to the fifth. Now let's take a listen. And it's going to have a little more flavor than the octaves. Okay, so we've now created three types of arpeggios and three types of how to play those arpeggios. First, we have the piano up, which is going to arpeggiate from the lower note to the higher note within the octave. Piano down, from the higher note to the lower note within that particular octave. And then you have your piano major, and that's going to go, we have it in an up direction right now, but you can go down. Let's take a listen to that. And we can also go random. Okay, so that's cool. And what I want to show you is how that works. we have our bass line right here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the differences. Number one, I'm going to bring my bass line over here. Okay. Control, copy and paste, control, copy and paste, control, copy and paste. And then I'm going to come over here to my selection tool, right? And then I'm going to select these four phrasings. Then I'm going to move these phrasings over to here with a left click and a drag, right? And I'm just being fancy to show you guys what you can do. Now I'm going to left click over here to unselect, and then and I'm going to hit, come back over to my draw tool, select my draw tool, control, drag, and then I'm going to do that for all of these, and I'm going to keep the same position where they are. Whoops. Okay, so first off, as we're going to listen to this song, we're going to hear the piano playing. You're going to hear the piano arpeggiated up, piano arpeggiated down within an octave, and then the piano major arpeggiated. Then we're going to hear it with a bass line, which is mimicking. And if you notice, all of these phrasings, phrasings here are the exact same notes. Like if I open this one up, it's the same set of notation. Now, if I open up this one, just random, it's the same set of notation. But what we've done is we've gone into the audio file processor and changed automatically using basically automation. We're changing how the program LMMS is going to play the notes. All right, so let's listen to the entire project. I don't like the piano major because that's in random. And again, when you are writing your songs, you're going to do this. Go back and tweak. And you name everything so you know exactly where to go back to. Okay, so now let's play that one. I like that better. Now we're going to play it with the bass line. And remember, it's the same exact notation for all the sets of phrasings, but we're playing everything differently. We're adding texture, we're adding a little bit of flavor, and we're taking a very simple melody and just spicing it up. All right. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. This has been how to create arpeggios using your audio file processor in LMMS Release Candidate 7. I hope this makes your life a little bit easier, and I'll see you next time. Peace.